The night is quiet. A warm breeze drifts across the dark water of the Nile. The river moves slowly beneath the stars, carrying reflections of distant reeds and silent mud banks. Somewhere far away, a dog barks once and then becomes quiet again. The sound fades into the darkness, leaving only the soft movement of water and the gentle whisper of wind through tall river grass. Ancient Egypt sleeps. Inside rows of mud-brick homes, families rest beneath simple linen coverings. Some sleep on woven mats placed directly upon the floor. Others lie on low wooden beds. The heat of the day still lingers inside the walls, though it is slowly fading as the hours pass. The streets are empty now. Sandals have been removed and placed beside doorways. Clay lamps burn low. Their small flames flicker gently before disappearing one by one into darkness. The great temples are quiet. The workshops are quiet. The fields are quiet. Even the donkeys that carried heavy loads throughout the day stand resting in their shelters. Only the Nile continues its endless journey through the sleeping land. And beside that river, long before the sun rises, another day is already preparing to begin. There are people whose work starts before most others wake. Their labor is not celebrated in grand inscriptions. Their names are not carved onto temple walls. Most history has forgotten them. Yet every household depends upon them. Every family wears the results of their work. Every servant, farmer, merchant, builder, scribe, and fisherman relies upon what they quietly accomplish. They are the people who wash clothes beside the Nile. Tonight, let us drift gently into their world. Let us walk slowly along the riverbank and spend a day among ordinary workers whose routines have long disappeared into the sands of time. The first light of morning has not yet appeared. The sky remains dark blue above the river. A few stars still shine overhead. In a small village not far from the water, a woman slowly opens her eyes. The room around her is dim. She listens for a moment. The familiar sounds of sleeping family members fill the space. Someone breathes deeply nearby. A child turns over in sleep. Outside, a faint rustle comes from palm leaves moving in the wind. The woman rises quietly. Her feet touch the cool floor. For a brief moment she enjoys the comfort of the early hour. The heat of midday has not yet arrived. The air feels softer now than it will later. She wraps herself in a simple linen garment and steps outside. Several neighboring homes remain dark. Others show small points of light where early workers have already awakened. The village is slowly stirring. Far away, a rooster calls. The woman begins walking toward the river. Soon she is joined by others carrying baskets and bundles. Their conversation is quiet. No one speaks loudly. The day is still young. The sky is still half asleep. Their footsteps create soft sounds along the dusty path. Ahead, the Nile waits. The river has shaped nearly every part of life in Egypt. It provides water for crops. It supports fishing boats. It allows travel between distant settlements. It nourishes fields with fertile soil. And for countless generations, it serves another important purpose. It helps keep clothing clean. As the workers approach the riverbank, the eastern horizon begins showing pale color. Soft gray becomes silver. Silver slowly becomes pink. The first signs of sunrise spread across the water. Birds begin waking among the reeds. Small ripples appear near the shore. The world feels peaceful and unhurried. Several washing places already stand ready. Some are simple flat stones positioned near shallow water. Others are smooth areas of packed earth used by generations of workers. The riverbank itself has become a workplace shaped by countless hands over many years. Bundles are placed carefully on the ground. Each contains clothing collected from homes throughout the settlement. Some belong to farmers. Some belong to craftsmen. Some belong to merchants. Others belong to wealthier households whose servants manage large amounts of linen. The fabric itself looks simple to modern eyes. Most clothing consists of linen made from flax plants. Linen is light. It breathes well in the heat. It dries quickly beneath the Egyptian sun. Yet after days of work in dusty fields, crowded workshops, and busy streets, even fine linen becomes dirty. Dust settles everywhere. Sweat gathers during long hours beneath the sun. Daily life leaves its marks upon every garment. And so the washing begins. The workers kneel near the water. Some soak clothing first. Others begin rubbing fabric carefully between their hands. River water splashes softly against stone. The sound is gentle and repetitive. Again and again. Again and again. The rhythm becomes almost soothing. Nearby, another worker carries clay jars filled with water. The jars feel heavy. Her arms have grown strong through years of practice. Every day includes lifting, carrying, scrubbing, and rinsing. The labor is demanding. Yet it has become familiar. Part of life. Part of the steady routine that keeps households functioning. As sunlight slowly rises higher, more workers arrive. The riverbank becomes busy without ever feeling noisy. People know one another. Many have worked together for years. Conversations drift through the morning air. Someone speaks about a successful harvest. Another mentions a family celebration. Someone else worries about a sick relative. The discussions are simple. The concerns are ordinary. They are the kinds of conversations that have filled mornings throughout human history. The Nile listens quietly to them all. Nearby, fishermen prepare their boats. Nets are inspected carefully. Wooden poles are adjusted. Small vessels push gently away from shore. The fishermen wave toward the washing workers. The workers wave back. Everyone understands the importance of daily labor. Everyone depends upon everyone else. A fisherman catches food. A farmer grows grain. A baker prepares bread. A potter shapes jars. A washer cleans clothing. The village survives because countless ordinary tasks are completed day after day. The sun climbs higher. Golden light spreads across the river. The cool comfort of dawn begins slowly disappearing. Soon the familiar heat of Egypt will return. The workers know this. They move steadily. Clothing is soaked, rubbed, rinsed, twisted gently to remove water. Then spread across stones, reeds, ropes, or clean ground where sunlight can do the rest. Rows of linen begin appearing along the riverbank. White cloth catches the morning light. Some pieces flutter gently in the breeze. Others lie flat beneath the growing warmth. The sight is surprisingly beautiful. Long stretches of bright linen create pale lines beside the blue-green river. The scene feels peaceful, orderly, calm. For a moment, one could almost forget the labor involved. Yet every clean garment represents effort. Every piece of drying linen reflects hours of physical work. The workers continue. The morning grows brighter. The river continues flowing. And another ordinary day in ancient Egypt slowly unfolds beside the timeless waters of the Nile. The sun continues its slow climb above the eastern horizon. The river glows beneath the growing light. What had been cool and gray only a short while ago now shines with gentle gold. Small ripples catch the morning sun and scatter it across the water. Reeds sway softly along the banks. Birds move through the air in slow patterns, searching for food among the shallows. The workers remain at their tasks. The day is still young, yet much has already been accomplished. Freshly washed linen hangs in long rows beside the river. Some pieces move gently in the breeze. Others rest quietly where they have been spread upon smooth stones warmed by the sun. The smell of clean water mixes with the scent of damp cloth and river mud. It is a familiar smell. For generations, people have stood in these same places, performing nearly the same work. The workers know exactly how the river behaves during different seasons. They know where the water runs deepest. They know which areas stay muddy after flooding. They know where sunlight reaches first and where shadows remain longest during the morning. The Nile is more than a river. It is part of their daily routine. Part of their memory. Part of their lives. A young worker named Hini kneels near the water's edge. She has done this work since childhood. When she was very young, she accompanied older relatives to the river. At first she carried only small bundles. Later she learned how to soak fabric properly, how to scrub stubborn stains, and how to rinse linen until it felt fresh beneath her hands. Now she works beside women who once taught her. The years have passed quietly. As she works, she watches the village waking fully behind her. Smoke begins rising from cooking fires. Morning bread is being prepared. Inside countless homes, grain is ground into flour. Hands knead dough. Clay ovens warm slowly. Families gather before beginning another day of labor. The scent of baking bread drifts toward the river. It mixes with the smell of water and damp reeds. The combination feels comforting. It signals the beginning of a normal day. A day much like yesterday. A day much like tomorrow. Nearby, several children run along the riverbank. Their responsibilities have not yet begun. They laugh softly as they chase one another through patches of grass. Sometimes they stop to watch the workers. The adults smile but continue their tasks. Soon enough, those children will have duties of their own. They will learn trades. They will carry water. They will help in workshops and fields. For now, however, they remain part of the gentle energy of morning. A small boat drifts close to shore. An elderly fisherman adjusts his net while waiting for better light. His face shows years spent beneath the Egyptian sun. Deep lines mark his skin. His hands move carefully but confidently. He has repeated the same motions thousands of times. Perhaps tens of thousands. Like the washers beside the river, his life follows familiar rhythms. There is comfort in routine. There is peace in knowing exactly what each day requires. The fisherman nods toward the workers. They nod back. No words are necessary. The river connects them all. As the morning advances, the heat begins arriving in earnest. The soft coolness of dawn fades. Sunlight grows stronger. The workers notice the change immediately. They feel it upon their shoulders. They feel it on their necks and arms. Sweat begins forming despite the early hour. The coming heat cannot be avoided. It arrives every day. Everyone accepts it. Life beside the Nile means living with warmth, sunlight, and long afternoons beneath a brilliant sky. A woman lifts a heavy bundle from a basket. The fabric inside belongs to a prosperous merchant's household. The linen is finer than most. The cloth feels smooth and tightly woven. Cleaning it requires extra care. A damaged garment would be costly to replace. She examines each piece carefully before beginning. Dust has collected in the folds. Small stains mark areas touched by daily life. Nothing unusual. Nothing unexpected. Simply evidence that people have been living, working, eating, and moving through their days. The worker lowers the garments into the water. The river receives them quietly. Around her, dozens of similar tasks continue. Each person focuses upon small details. A stain here. A torn seam there. A wrinkle that needs smoothing. A cloth that requires extra rinsing. The work demands attention but not constant urgency. It follows a steady pace. A sustainable pace. The kind of pace that allows people to continue hour after hour beneath the sun. Farther up the riverbank, an older woman pauses briefly. She stretches her back. Years of labor have left their mark upon her body. Her hands are strong but rough. Her shoulders ache at times. Her knees often complain when she rises after kneeling too long. Still, she returns to work. The task remains necessary. Life continues. She glances across the river. Palm trees stand motionless on the opposite shore. Beyond them lie fields nourished by annual floods. Farmers are already beginning their own work. Tiny figures move among crops. From this distance they appear almost silent. The entire landscape seems to breathe slowly beneath the morning sun. The river moves. The wind moves. People move. Everything else feels still. As the hours pass, the riverbank grows brighter. The white linen reflects sunlight strongly now. Some workers narrow their eyes against the glare. Others move to areas where reeds provide brief moments of shade. Shade becomes precious as the day warms. Even a small patch beneath a tree offers relief. One worker carries a clay jar filled with drinking water. She shares it among friends. The water is cool compared to the air. Everyone drinks slowly. No one wastes it. Hydration is important during long hours beside the river. The workers understand this well. Many have experienced exhaustion before. They know the warning signs. Heavy limbs. Dizziness. A pounding heartbeat beneath the heat. Experience teaches caution. The work continues, but wisdom guides the pace. Across the village, daily life unfolds in countless ways. Scribes sit in shaded spaces practicing careful writing. Builders carry stone and mud brick. Merchants prepare goods for trade. Servants sweep courtyards. Potters shape clay. Weavers work with flax fibers. Bakers tend their ovens. Each task contributes to the larger rhythm of Egyptian life. Yet beside the Nile, the washing workers remain somewhat apart. The river creates its own world. Hours pass differently here. The constant sound of moving water softens everything. The splashing of cloth. The rustle of reeds. The distant calls of birds. Even conversation seems quieter beside the river. The sounds blend together naturally. Nothing feels hurried. Nothing feels sharp. By late morning, many garments have already dried. The heat that challenges the workers also helps complete their task. Sunlight draws moisture from the fabric. Breezes assist where they can. One by one, clean garments are folded neatly. Stacks begin growing beneath shaded areas. The piles look orderly and satisfying. Visible proof of progress. Visible proof that effort produces results. A young apprentice carefully folds a large linen sheet. The corners must align properly. The cloth should remain smooth. An older worker watches and offers gentle correction. The apprentice nods. Learning takes time. Every skill requires practice. The riverbank serves as a workplace, but it is also a classroom. Knowledge passes quietly from one generation to another. Not through books. Not through formal lessons. Through observation. Through repetition. Through daily experience. The sun rises higher still. Now it hangs above the river with unmistakable strength. Shadows grow shorter. The light becomes almost white. The heat settles across the landscape like a blanket. Work continues, though movements become slightly slower. Energy must be conserved. The hottest hours are approaching. Some workers look toward nearby trees where rest will eventually come. Others focus on finishing one more bundle before taking a break. No one rushes. The day is long. There is time. The Nile continues flowing exactly as it did yesterday and exactly as it will tomorrow. Its waters pass reeds, villages, temples, fields, and distant cities. Generations come and go. Workers arrive and depart. Children grow old. Families change. Yet the river remains. And on this bright morning, beside its ancient banks, rows of clean linen sway gently in the warm breeze while ordinary people continue their quiet labor beneath the endless Egyptian sky. By the time the sun reaches its highest point, the world beside the Nile has changed once again. The gentle coolness of morning feels far away now. Heat settles across the river valley. The air shimmers above the ground. Stone surfaces grow warm beneath bare feet and sandals. Mud brick walls absorb sunlight. Even the reeds along the shoreline seem quieter beneath the weight of the afternoon sun. The workers know this hour well. It arrives every day. It asks everyone to slow down. The riverbank becomes calmer as many tasks pause for a short while. Bundles of freshly cleaned linen rest in neat stacks. Cloth hangs drying in long pale lines that stretch beside the water. The fabric barely moves now. The breeze that danced across the river earlier has softened. Many workers seek shade. A cluster of date palms offers shelter near the edge of the bank. Several women gather there with clay jars and simple meals wrapped in cloth. The meals are modest. Bread baked during the early morning. A few vegetables. Perhaps some dried fish from the river. Sometimes figs. Sometimes dates. Nothing elaborate. Nothing extravagant. Yet after hours of labor, even a simple meal feels satisfying. The workers sit together. Their conversation drifts slowly beneath the shade. No one speaks loudly. The heat encourages quiet voices. People save their energy. One woman describes a wedding that recently took place in a nearby village. Another talks about her grandson learning to fish. Someone mentions repairs needed on a roof before the next flood season. The topics are ordinary. They are the small details that fill human lives. The details that rarely appear in official records. Yet these conversations reveal far more about daily life than any monument ever could. A young worker leans against a tree trunk and closes her eyes for a few moments. Not fully asleep. Simply resting. Listening. The river continues its endless murmur nearby. Birds call occasionally from the reeds. Insects hum softly in the warm air. The sounds blend together into something peaceful. Something steady. Something that feels unchanged for centuries. Far across the river, a farmer guides a pair of oxen through a field. The movement appears slow from this distance. Almost dreamlike. The bright sunlight softens details. Everything beyond the river seems wrapped in a gentle haze. The worker opens her eyes again. For a moment she watches the distant scene. Then she returns her attention to her meal. Around her, others do the same. The break is short but important. The body requires rest. The body requires food. Without these moments of recovery, the afternoon would feel much longer. Nearby, several children sit near the water. They dip their feet into the river and watch small fish dart through the shallows. One child tosses a pebble. Ripples spread outward. The children watch until the circles disappear. Then they throw another. And another. Simple entertainment. Simple joy. The kind found wherever children have lived throughout history. The workers smile as they observe them. Some things never change. A mother calls gently to her son. He looks up immediately. Even from a distance, he recognizes that tone. Lunch is finished. The day's work will soon continue. The hottest part of the afternoon still lies ahead. Gradually, the workers rise. They stretch stiff muscles. They gather tools. They brush dust from their clothing. The brief period of rest comes to an end. The riverbank slowly becomes active once more. Fresh bundles await cleaning. Dried linen requires folding. Deliveries must eventually return to homes and workshops. There is still much to accomplish before sunset. The older workers move carefully. Years of labor have taught them efficiency. They waste very little motion. Every action serves a purpose. A garment is lifted, inspected, folded, placed into a stack. The movements appear almost effortless. Yet they come from decades of practice. Nearby, younger workers learn by watching. The skills pass naturally from one generation to the next. No formal ceremony marks this transfer of knowledge. It happens quietly. Day after day. Season after season. Year after year. The river itself seems to participate in the lesson. Its rhythms teach patience. Its floods teach timing. Its steady flow teaches endurance. Life beside the Nile requires observation. Those who pay attention understand its patterns. Those patterns shape nearly everything. As the afternoon continues, the sunlight slowly begins changing. The fierce brightness softens ever so slightly. Shadows become visible again. The worst of the heat gradually passes. Relief arrives little by little. No sudden change occurs. Only a slow easing. The workers welcome it. A woman kneeling near the shoreline lowers another garment into the water. Tiny droplets splash across her hands. The water feels pleasant against skin warmed by the sun. For a brief moment she pauses. Not because she is tired. Simply because the cool sensation feels good. Then she continues. The work remains unfinished. Farther along the riverbank, two workers carry baskets toward a drying area. The baskets are heavy. They move slowly but steadily. Their sandals leave faint marks in the dust. Behind them, rows of linen catch the afternoon light. The cloth almost glows. Bright against the darker earth. Beautiful in its simplicity. No artist planned the arrangement. No architect designed it. Yet the scene possesses a quiet harmony. Clean fabric. Flowing water. Golden sunlight. The rhythm of ordinary labor. Together they create something peaceful. As the day advances, boats begin returning from fishing grounds. The fishermen appear tired. The sun has been strong. The work has been demanding. Still, there is satisfaction in their movements. The nets contain enough fish to justify the effort. The boats approach shore slowly. Workers along the river glance toward them. Greetings are exchanged. News travels back and forth. Someone asks about conditions farther upstream. Someone else asks about relatives in another village. Information moves through conversation long before it ever reaches official records. The river serves as a road connecting countless communities. People carry stories just as boats carry goods. A fisherman unloads baskets near the shore. His shoulders ache. His hands are rough from rope and water. Yet he smiles as he speaks with a washer who has known him for years. Both understand physical labor. Both understand long days beneath the Egyptian sun. There is respect in that understanding. The afternoon continues unfolding. The river remains patient. The sky remains clear. Clouds are rare here. The sun dominates the landscape. Its presence shapes schedules, routines, and expectations. Workers plan around it. Farmers plan around it. Entire communities adapt to its power. As shadows lengthen, energy slowly returns. People move with greater ease. Conversations become slightly more lively. Children resume games near the shore. Birds become more active once again. The riverbank feels refreshed. One worker begins sorting folded garments into separate piles. Each household must receive the correct items. Mistakes create problems. Careful attention is necessary. She recognizes many garments immediately. Years of handling the same clothing have made them familiar. Certain families favor particular styles. Certain craftsmen wear distinctive garments connected to their trade. Recognition becomes second nature. The task proceeds smoothly. Nearby, another woman examines a small tear in a linen robe. Repair will be needed before the garment returns home. She sets it aside. Someone skilled with needle and thread can address the problem later. Nothing is wasted if it can be repaired. Linen requires considerable effort to produce. Flax must be grown, harvested, processed, woven. Every piece of fabric represents many hours of work. People value what they own. The workers understand this better than most. They see garments at every stage of use. They notice wear before others do. They understand how daily life leaves marks upon cloth. A child arrives carrying fresh drinking water. The clay jar looks large in his arms. Several workers thank him warmly. He beams with pride. The task may seem small, but it matters. Everyone contributes where they can. The village functions through cooperation. Countless small acts combine into something larger. As afternoon slowly leans toward evening, the quality of light changes once more. The harsh white brightness softens into warm gold. The river reflects deeper colors. Palm trees cast longer shadows across the ground. The air becomes easier to breathe. The workers feel renewed. The hardest hours are behind them now. Many of today's garments are already cleaned, dried, folded, and prepared for delivery. The stacks have grown impressively. The sight brings quiet satisfaction. No celebration follows. No applause. Only the simple knowledge that necessary work has been completed. For the people beside the Nile, that is enough. The river continues flowing. The sun begins its slow journey toward the western horizon. And along the ancient shoreline, among reeds, stone, water, and warm evening light, the peaceful routine of washing clothes continues exactly as it has for countless days before. The afternoon slowly begins to surrender to evening. The change happens so gradually that it is almost impossible to notice at first. The sunlight becomes softer. The shadows stretch farther across the ground. The heat that pressed down upon the river valley throughout the day slowly loosens its grip. A gentle breeze returns to the Nile. It moves across the water and through the reeds. The workers welcome it. The air feels lighter now. The most difficult hours have passed. Along the riverbank, long rows of linen continue drying in the warm glow of late afternoon. The cloth catches the sunlight and shines pale gold. Some pieces flutter softly. Others remain still. The river reflects everything. The sky. The reeds. The boats. The workers moving carefully among the drying garments. For a few moments, the entire shoreline seems painted with warm light. A woman bends to gather a group of folded linens. She places them carefully into a woven basket. Each piece has been cleaned, rinsed, dried, and inspected. The work has taken many hours. Now another stage begins. Soon these garments will return to homes throughout the village. Soon they will once again become part of daily life. People will wear them while baking bread, while planting crops, while carrying water, while repairing roofs, while fishing, while walking dusty roads beneath the sun. The cycle never truly ends. Clothing becomes dirty. It is cleaned. It returns to use. Then the process begins again. Day after day. Year after year. Generation after generation. Nearby, a young apprentice works beside an older woman. The apprentice carefully folds a large linen sheet. She tries to imitate the practiced movements she has observed all day. The older woman watches quietly. After a moment, she offers a few gentle suggestions. The apprentice adjusts her technique. The fold becomes neater. The older woman nods with approval. No lengthy lesson is necessary. Most learning happens through observation, through repetition, through patience. Skills settle slowly into the hands. They become habits. Then they become instinct. The Nile has witnessed countless such lessons. Children becoming workers. Workers becoming elders. Knowledge passing quietly from one life to another. Nothing is written down. Nothing is formally recorded. Yet the knowledge survives. Because people share it. Because people remember. A flock of birds suddenly rises from the reeds. Their wings beat against the air. For a few seconds, they circle above the river. Then they drift toward distant marshes. The workers glance upward briefly. Then return to their tasks. Birds are part of the river's daily rhythm. Like fishermen. Like farmers. Like boats. Like reeds swaying in the breeze. Everything belongs to the same landscape. Everything moves according to familiar patterns. Farther downstream, a group of fishermen guides their boats toward shore. The day has been long. Their nets are full enough to justify the effort. Wood creaks softly as the boats approach the bank. Ropes are secured. Baskets are lifted. Voices carry gently across the water. The atmosphere remains calm. No one rushes. There is still time before darkness arrives. The workers washing clothes continue organizing the final bundles of the day. Some garments belong to wealthy households. Others belong to ordinary laborers. The fabric may differ slightly. The owners may live different lives. Yet all garments require care. Dust settles on everyone. Sweat touches everyone. The Nile serves everyone. A middle-aged worker pauses for a moment and looks across the river. The opposite shore glows beneath the lowering sun. Fields stretch into the distance. Palm trees stand dark against the golden sky. A few farmers can still be seen returning from their work. Their silhouettes move slowly along narrow paths. The sight feels peaceful, familiar, comforting. The worker has likely witnessed the scene thousands of times. Yet she still pauses to look. Perhaps because beauty often hides inside ordinary moments. Perhaps because the end of a workday carries its own quiet satisfaction. Or perhaps because after many hours of labor, it simply feels good to stand still for a moment and watch the river flow. The breeze strengthens slightly. The smell of water drifts through the air. Along with it comes the scent of damp earth. The scent of reeds. The scent of distant cooking fires beginning to awaken throughout the village. Soon evening meals will be prepared. Soon families will gather together. Soon the sounds of daily labor will slowly fade. But not yet. For now, work continues. Several workers begin loading folded linens into carrying baskets. The baskets are heavy. The day's efforts have produced many clean garments. The weight represents accomplishment. It represents a task completed well. The workers lift the baskets onto their shoulders. Some balance them upon their heads. They have performed these movements countless times. Their bodies know exactly how to distribute the load. A young boy arrives carrying an empty basket. He has come to help his mother. She smiles when she sees him. Together they organize several bundles. The boy takes pride in assisting. The responsibility may be small, but it matters. Every helping hand matters. Life beside the Nile depends upon cooperation. One person bakes bread. Another catches fish. Another repairs tools. Another washes clothing. The work of each supports the work of others. No task stands entirely alone. As the sun sinks lower, shadows grow longer. The brightness softens further. The river transforms once again. Golden reflections stretch across the surface. The water appears almost molten beneath the evening light. Small waves shimmer and disappear. The scene feels dreamlike. Peaceful. Timeless. Nearby, a fisherman sits briefly beside his boat. He removes his sandals and stretches tired feet. His hands bear the marks of years spent pulling nets. His shoulders ache from lifting. Yet there is calm upon his face. The day has been productive. That is enough. Not every day needs excitement. Not every day needs adventure. Most lives are built from ordinary days. Days of work. Days of routine. Days that begin with sunrise and end with rest. The people of ancient Egypt understood this well. Their world depended upon consistency. Upon steady effort. Upon countless small actions repeated faithfully. The workers beside the river embody this truth. Every clean garment exists because someone rose before dawn. Because someone carried water. Because someone scrubbed fabric beneath the sun. Because someone folded linen carefully before evening arrived. The work may seem simple. Yet it supports an entire community. A gentle quiet begins settling over the riverbank. Some workers have already departed for home. Others finish their final tasks. The crowds that filled the shoreline earlier have thinned. More open space appears between the remaining groups. The sounds change as well. Morning had been filled with activity. Midday had brought steady labor. Now evening introduces calm. The splash of water becomes less frequent. Conversations become softer. Movements become slower. The day is winding down. A woman gathers the last garments hanging near her section of the bank. She checks each piece carefully. Everything appears dry. Everything appears clean. She folds the final cloth and places it into a basket. Then she looks toward the sky. The sun rests low above the western horizon. Soon darkness will begin its gradual return. She takes a slow breath. The breeze feels pleasant against her skin. The air no longer carries the harsh heat of afternoon. Instead it offers relief, comfort, a promise of cooler hours ahead. Nearby, the Nile continues its endless journey northward. The river does not hurry. It never has. It simply flows. Past villages. Past temples. Past fields. Past generations of workers who come and go. The river remembers them all in its own silent way. And as evening deepens across the ancient landscape, the people beside its banks continue gathering their baskets, preparing for the walk home beneath the fading light of another peaceful Egyptian day. The sun settles lower and lower toward the western horizon. Its light grows softer with every passing moment. The intense brightness that filled the Nile Valley during midday has become warm and gentle now. Golden colors spread across the water. The river reflects the sky like a long ribbon of polished bronze. The workers continue gathering their baskets. The shoreline is quieter than it was only a few hours ago. Many of the day's tasks have been completed. Rows of drying linen that once stretched across the riverbank have mostly disappeared. Clean garments now rest in carefully folded stacks, ready to return to homes, workshops, and storerooms throughout the village. A peaceful feeling settles over the area. It is the feeling that often comes at the end of a productive day. Not excitement. Not celebration. Simply quiet satisfaction. The satisfaction of knowing that necessary work has been done. One by one, workers begin leaving the river. Their baskets are balanced carefully upon their shoulders or heads. The paths leading back toward the village slowly fill with familiar figures. Sandals move across dusty ground. Soft conversations continue as groups walk together. The pace is unhurried. There is no reason to rush now. The hardest part of the day has already passed. The evening belongs to rest. A woman named Tia walks beside two friends. They have worked together for many years. As they move along the path, they speak about ordinary things. One wonders whether the coming harvest will be good. Another talks about repairing a broken storage jar. They discuss a neighbor's new baby. A relative visiting from another village. The price of fish in the market. The conversation drifts naturally from topic to topic. These small discussions accompany the journey home. Above them, birds fly toward their nesting places. The sky slowly changes color. Gold begins mixing with orange. Orange slowly deepens toward red. The entire landscape seems wrapped in evening light. Behind them, the Nile continues flowing quietly. The river never truly rests. Even when villages sleep, the water continues its journey. The workers know this. Many have spent their entire lives beside its banks. The river has become as familiar as their own heartbeat. As the group approaches the village, signs of evening life appear everywhere. Cooking fires burn outside homes. Thin streams of smoke rise into the air. The smell of fresh bread drifts through the streets. Someone is roasting fish nearby. Another family prepares vegetables gathered earlier in the day. The scents mingle together. They create an atmosphere that feels warm and welcoming. Children play near doorways. Their energy has not yet faded. They run between houses, laughing softly. Some carry simple toys made from wood or woven reeds. Others invent games using nothing more than stones and imagination. Their voices fill the air with life. Nearby, older family members sit outside enjoying the cooler evening. The heat trapped within mudbrick homes often takes time to escape. Many people prefer spending these hours outdoors. The breeze feels pleasant. The sky is beautiful. There is comfort in gathering together after a long day. Tia reaches her home. The structure is simple. Like most homes in the village, it is built from sun-dried mud brick. The walls are thick. The doorway is low. Inside, the rooms remain modest but practical. She places her basket near the entrance. The day's clean garments will soon be delivered to their owners. For now, however, she allows herself a moment of rest. Her feet are tired. Her shoulders feel heavy. Her hands show the effects of many hours spent working with water and cloth. Yet beneath the fatigue lies satisfaction. She has completed her work well. That matters. Throughout ancient Egypt, countless workers feel the same way this evening. Farmers return from the fields. Fishermen return from the river. Builders return from construction sites. Potters leave their workshops. Merchants close their stalls. Each carries a different kind of exhaustion. Each carries a different set of responsibilities. Yet all share the same simple desire. Food. Rest. Family. Sleep. The evening sky continues darkening. The first stars begin appearing overhead. Tiny points of light emerge one at a time. Soon they will fill the heavens above the Nile. People notice them as they move through their evening routines. For thousands of years, Egyptians have looked upward and seen these same stars. They have watched them during harvests, during floods, during celebrations, during ordinary evenings exactly like this one. Inside many homes, meals are being served. Families gather together. Bread is broken. Fish is shared. Water is poured into simple cups. Conversations flow quietly. People talk about their day. They discuss tomorrow's work. They exchange news and observations. Children describe small adventures. Parents offer advice. Grandparents tell stories. The rhythm of family life continues. In Tia's home, a small oil lamp has been lit. Its flame flickers gently against the wall. The room glows with soft amber light. Shadows move quietly across the floor. The atmosphere feels peaceful. Outside, the sounds of the village gradually begin to soften. Children grow sleepy. Games come to an end. Doors close. Voices become less frequent. The transition happens slowly. No single moment marks the beginning of night. Instead, darkness gently spreads across the landscape. The Nile reflects the stars now. The water appears darker, calmer, mysterious but comforting. A few fishermen still move along the shoreline. Some prepare equipment for tomorrow. Others simply sit and enjoy the cool air. Their silhouettes appear black against the silver glow of moonlight beginning to rise. Far away, somewhere across the river, a dog barks. The sound drifts briefly through the night. Then silence returns. Inside her home, Tia carefully examines her hands. The skin is rough from years of labor. Small scars mark her fingers. These signs do not trouble her. Most workers carry similar marks. Their bodies tell stories that no scribe will ever record. Stories of effort. Stories of patience. Stories of ordinary lives. Tomorrow morning she will rise before dawn once again. She will walk the familiar path toward the river. She will meet the same workers. She will hear the same birds greeting the sunrise. She will wash new bundles of linen beneath the growing light. The routine will repeat. Not because life lacks variety, but because communities depend upon dependable work. The cycle continues because it must. And within that cycle, Many people find a certain peace. There is comfort in knowing what tomorrow requires. There is comfort in familiar tasks. Comfort in familiar faces. Comfort in walking the same path beside the same river that has guided generations before. Outside, the stars multiply overhead. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a pale river above the dark river below. The night air grows cooler. A breeze moves through palm leaves. The sound is soft, almost like whispered conversation. Throughout the village, lamps gradually burn lower. One by one, households prepare for sleep. Mats are arranged. Doors are secured. Final conversations fade into quiet. People settle beneath linen coverings. Bodies weary from labor welcome rest. The workers who spent the day washing clothes beside the Nile feel the pleasant heaviness of earned fatigue. Their muscles ache gently. Their eyelids grow heavy. Sleep approaches naturally. Outside, the Nile continues its endless journey through the darkness. It slips past reeds and riverbanks. Past sleeping villages. Past silent fields. Past countless homes where ordinary people rest after another day of honest work. The river has witnessed the scene for centuries. It will witness it for centuries more. And beneath the stars of ancient Egypt, as cool night air drifts across the water and the village settles into peaceful silence, the memory of the day's labor slowly fades into the calm embrace of evening. Night settles fully across the Nile Valley. The last traces of sunset have disappeared beyond the western horizon. Darkness now covers the fields, the riverbanks, and the narrow paths connecting one village to another. Above, countless stars shine with remarkable clarity. Without bright lamps or city lights, the sky appears vast and endless. The Nile reflects a portion of that beauty. Moonlight drifts across the surface of the water. Small ripples catch the silver light and carry it gently downstream. The river seems quieter at night. Not because it has changed, but because so much else has grown silent. The sounds of labor have faded. The voices of merchants have disappeared. The workshops have closed. The fields stand empty. Only a few distant noises remain. A bird calling from the reeds. A donkey shifting in its shelter. The soft movement of palm leaves in the night breeze. Inside the village, most people sleep. The day's work has exhausted them. Bodies that spent hours lifting, carrying, kneeling, walking, weaving, fishing, building, and farming now rest peacefully. For many workers, sleep arrives quickly. There is little time for lying awake. Labor creates its own kind of tiredness. A deep and honest tiredness. The kind that welcomes sleep without resistance. Inside her home, Tia lies upon a woven mat. The oil lamp has long been extinguished. Only moonlight enters through a small opening near the roof. The pale glow reaches part of the floor. Everything else remains in shadow. Her breathing is slow and steady. Nearby, other family members sleep as well. The room feels calm, safe, comfortable in its simplicity. The walls hold the warmth gathered during the day, though the night air has begun cooling them little by little. Outside, the village rests beneath the stars. Yet not everyone sleeps. Some people remain awake. A fisherman sits quietly near the shoreline. His boat rests nearby. Tomorrow he will leave before sunrise. For now, however, he simply enjoys the cool air. The day has been long. The river feels peaceful tonight. He listens to the water. The sound requires no effort to understand. He has heard it all his life. Its rhythm is familiar, almost comforting. Across the Nile Valley, countless others share similar moments. A shepherd watches over animals. A guard remains awake outside a storage building. A mother comforts a restless child. An elderly man sits beneath the stars for a few extra minutes before returning indoors. These quiet nighttime moments exist between the demands of one day and the beginning of the next. The world feels slower here. Gentler. The river continues flowing. The moon climbs higher. Time passes softly. Hours drift by. Gradually, the deepest part of night arrives. The air becomes cooler. The village grows even more silent. Many cooking fires have faded into glowing embers. The scents of evening meals have disappeared. Even the animals seem quieter now. The entire landscape appears to be resting. Far beyond the village, the Nile continues its journey through Egypt. It passes larger towns. It passes temples and fields. It passes fishing camps and farming settlements. Everywhere, people sleep. Everywhere, tomorrow waits patiently beyond the horizon. Eventually, the stars begin shifting toward the west. The moon descends little by little. The darkest hours slowly approach their end. No one notices at first. The change is too gradual. Yet nature has already begun preparing for morning. A slight coolness fills the air. The eastern horizon remains dark, but somewhere beyond it the sun is already beginning its return. Inside homes throughout the village, workers continue sleeping. The rest is important. Tomorrow's labor will require strength. The farmers will return to their fields. The fishermen will return to their boats. The bakers will prepare fresh bread. The potters will shape clay. The washers will return to the river. The cycle continues. Not because anyone commands it. Not because anyone forces it. But because life itself depends upon these rhythms. Each day supports the next. Each season supports the next. The Nile itself follows rhythms of flooding and retreating. Everything belongs to a larger pattern. A larger flow. Much like the river. At last, the first hint of dawn appears. It is almost impossible to see. A faint lightening of the eastern sky. Nothing more. Yet the darkness has begun to loosen. The stars closest to the horizon grow dim. The night breeze carries a different feeling now. A feeling of transition. A feeling of beginning. One bird calls from somewhere among the reeds. Its voice sounds clear in the stillness. A few moments later, another bird answers. Then another. The riverbank slowly awakens. Nature often wakes before people do. The reeds stir. Small animals move quietly through the grass. Fish disturb the water's surface. The world stretches gently toward a new day. Inside her home, Tia begins to wake. Not suddenly. Not with alarm. Simply with the familiarity of routine. Years of experience have trained her body to rise before sunrise. Her eyes open slowly. For a moment she remains still. The room is dim. The village remains mostly silent. Yet she already senses morning approaching. Nearby, other family members continue sleeping. She sits up carefully. The woven mat creaks softly beneath her movement. The air feels cooler than it did yesterday afternoon. That coolness will not last long. Soon the Egyptian sun will return. Soon the heat will once again fill the valley. For now, however, dawn remains gentle. Tia rises and steps outside. The sky above her is beautiful. Deep blue overhead. Pale silver near the horizon. A few bright stars still linger. The village appears peaceful in the half-light. Several other early workers have already emerged from their homes. Some carry baskets. Others carry jars. Everyone moves quietly. There is something sacred about these early moments. Not sacred in a formal sense. Simply peaceful. The world has not yet become busy. The day has not yet become demanding. Everything feels possible. Everything feels calm. A faint smell of damp earth rises from the ground. The night air has left traces of moisture. The scent mixes with the smell of reeds and river water drifting from the Nile. Tia begins walking toward the riverbank. The familiar path stretches before her. Her sandals press gently into the dust. Ahead, she can already see a few workers making the same journey. No words are needed. Everyone knows where they are going. Everyone knows what the day will bring. The path curves toward the water. The Nile slowly comes into view. Its surface reflects the growing light of dawn. The river appears calm. Patient. Unchanging. Waiting. Soon the shoreline will once again fill with workers. Bundles of linen will arrive. Conversations will begin. Cloth will soak in river water. The sounds of washing, rinsing, folding, and carrying will return. Another ordinary day will unfold beside the Nile. Another day much like the countless days before it. And as the first sunlight touches the eastern edge of the ancient world, the peaceful routine begins once more, carried forward by the steady hands of ordinary people and the timeless waters of Egypt's great river. The first rays of sunlight slowly rise above the eastern horizon. A thin band of gold appears beyond the distant fields. The darkness retreats gently. Colors begin returning to the world. The river shifts from silver to pale blue. The reeds along the shoreline reveal their soft green tones. Mudbrick homes emerge from the shadows one by one. Another day has arrived beside the Nile. The village wakes gradually. No loud signal announces the morning. No sudden change sweeps across the landscape. Instead, life returns in small and familiar ways. A door opens. Footsteps appear on a dusty path. A clay jar is lifted. A cooking fire is kindled. Birds continue calling from the reeds. The sounds blend together into the beginning of another ordinary day. Tia walks toward the river with her basket balanced carefully against her side. The path is already becoming busy. Several other workers move in the same direction. Some greet one another softly. Others remain quiet, still carrying a bit of sleep from the night. The coolness of dawn feels pleasant against their skin. Everyone knows it will not last. Soon the sun will climb higher. Soon the familiar warmth will spread across the valley. For now, however, the air remains gentle. The workers appreciate these early hours. The Nile greets them as it always does. Its waters move steadily through the landscape. Calm. Patient. Unhurried. The river has witnessed countless mornings like this. Generations have stood upon these same banks. Generations have watched the sunrise reflect across the water. The names have changed. The faces have changed. Yet the rhythm remains. The workers reach their usual places along the shoreline. Baskets are lowered carefully onto the ground. Fresh bundles of linen await attention. Some have arrived from nearby homes. Others have come from larger households that generate many garments each week. The amount of work varies from day to day. Today appears moderately busy. Not overwhelming. Not quiet. Simply normal. The kind of day the workers know best. Tia kneels beside the water. She reaches into a basket and removes the first garment. The fabric feels slightly rough with dust gathered during daily use. Nothing unusual. Fields create dust. Roads create dust. Workshops create dust. Life itself creates dust. The Nile helps remove it. She lowers the garment into the water. Small ripples spread outward. The surface settles again almost immediately. Nearby, other workers begin similar tasks. Soon the familiar sounds return. Water splashing softly. Fabric being rinsed. Voices drifting through the morning air. The rhythm feels comforting. Predictable. Steady. A young apprentice arrives carrying a bundle that seems almost too large for her arms. Several older workers smile. One steps forward to help. The apprentice laughs softly, relieved by the assistance. Such moments happen often. The work may be demanding, but people rarely face it entirely alone. Help is offered naturally. Friendships grow through shared labor. Years spent working side by side create strong bonds. The apprentice places her bundle down and begins sorting garments. She moves carefully. She wants to do well. Like many young workers, she watches the experienced women closely. Every movement becomes a lesson. Every task reveals something useful. Knowledge accumulates slowly. Not in a single day. Not in a single season. But over years of observation and practice. The sun climbs a little higher. Golden light spreads across the riverbank. The coolness of dawn begins fading. Yet the heat remains comfortable for now. This is one of the most pleasant times of day. The workers know it. Birds know it. Even the fishermen seem to know it. Several boats drift away from shore as fishermen begin their own morning routines. The workers watch them briefly. The fishermen wave. The washers wave back. Then everyone returns to their tasks. Life beside the Nile involves many different forms of labor. Each depends upon the others. Without fishermen, there is less food. Without farmers, there is less grain. Without potters, there are fewer storage jars. Without washers, clean clothing becomes difficult to maintain. Every task contributes something valuable. A breeze moves through the reeds. The sound resembles a soft whisper. It travels along the shoreline and disappears. The workers barely notice it anymore. They have heard it their entire lives. Yet if a visitor from a distant land stood here, the sound might seem remarkable. The rustling reeds. The flowing river. The calls of water birds. The steady rhythm of work. Together they create a kind of music unique to the Nile. As the morning advances, more people arrive near the river. Some come to collect water. Others come to wash themselves. Children accompany parents. Merchants pass through on their way toward market areas. The shoreline becomes increasingly active. Yet it never feels chaotic. Everyone understands the routines. Everyone knows where to go. Everyone knows what must be done. A man carrying 2 large water jars pauses briefly near the workers. He exchanges greetings before continuing on his way. His path will take him back toward the village. The jars are heavy. His shoulders lean slightly beneath the weight. Still, he walks with practiced confidence. Years of repetition have strengthened his body. Nearby, an older woman carefully examines a garment decorated with fine pleats. Such garments require extra attention. The folds must remain neat. The fabric must not be damaged. She handles it gently. Years of experience guide her hands. She has cleaned hundreds of similar garments throughout her life. Perhaps thousands. The work no longer requires conscious thought. Her hands simply know what to do. The riverbank slowly fills with drying cloth once again. White linen catches the sunlight. Rows begin appearing across stones, ropes, and open ground. The scene resembles yesterday. And the day before that. And countless days before. There is comfort in repetition. The workers rarely speak about it, but many feel it. The familiar routine creates stability. Life contains uncertainties. Flood levels change. Harvests vary. Illness comes unexpectedly. Yet some things remain dependable. The river continues flowing. The sun continues rising. The work continues waiting. Those constants provide reassurance. Farther along the bank, two women discuss the coming flood season. The annual flooding of the Nile shapes much of Egyptian life. Everyone pays attention to it. Farmers depend upon it. Merchants discuss it. Families prepare for it. The river gives life through its waters and fertile soil. Without it, the valley would be very different. Their conversation drifts naturally between practical concerns and personal stories. One remembers a particularly high flood many years ago. Another recalls helping her father move supplies to safer ground. The memories blend together with the work. Hands continue washing while voices continue talking. Neither interrupts the other. The morning progresses peacefully. The sun climbs steadily. The light grows brighter. The air becomes warmer. Still, the workers maintain their pace. There is no reason to hurry. The day stretches ahead. Tasks completed carefully are better than tasks completed quickly. The Nile teaches patience. Its waters never rush. Its journey unfolds steadily. The workers often mirror that same rhythm. A small boy arrives carrying fresh bread wrapped in cloth. His mother smiles when she sees him approaching. The smell reaches her before he does. Warm bread. Fresh from the oven. Simple food. Good food. The workers nearby smile as well. Morning labor often sharpens the appetite. The promise of a small meal brings quiet happiness. The boy beams proudly as he delivers the bread. He has been trusted with an important responsibility. For a child, that trust matters. The workers thank him warmly. His smile grows even wider. Then he runs off toward another errand waiting elsewhere in the village. The river continues moving beside them. The sunlight grows stronger. The sounds of work continue. Garments soak, rinse, dry, and fold. Conversations rise and fall like the water itself. Another ordinary morning unfolds beside the Nile. Another morning filled with steady labor, gentle companionship, warm sunlight, and the timeless routines that quietly shape the lives of ordinary people in ancient Egypt. The morning continues unfolding with quiet patience. The sun rises higher above the Nile Valley, spreading its light across fields, villages, and winding paths that connect one settlement to another. The shadows that stretched long across the ground at dawn slowly become shorter. Warmth settles over the landscape. Along the riverbank, the day's work moves forward in its familiar rhythm. Garments are soaked. Garments are rinsed. Garments are laid out beneath the growing sunlight. The routine repeats again and again. Yet to the workers, it never feels exactly the same. Each day brings different conversations. Different visitors. Different weather. Different small moments that quietly shape the hours. Tia lifts a freshly rinsed linen garment from the water. Droplets fall back into the Nile. Tiny circles spread across the surface before disappearing. She twists the cloth carefully and carries it toward a flat stone warmed by the morning sun. Nearby, dozens of other pieces already lie drying. The sight is becoming familiar once again. White linen against brown earth. Bright fabric beneath a blue sky. The gentle movement of cloth in the breeze. It creates a scene of remarkable calm. A fisherman passing nearby pauses for a moment. His morning has gone well. Several fish rest inside a woven basket at his side. He exchanges greetings with the workers before continuing toward the village market. The smell of river water follows him. His sandals leave faint marks in the dust. Soon the breeze will erase them. The Nile Valley is full of such temporary traces. Footprints. Boat marks along the shore. Patterns left by birds. Ripples across water. Most disappear quickly. Yet new ones appear every day. Life continues creating them. The workers remain focused on their tasks. The sound of washing cloth mixes with the voices of birds moving among the reeds. A pair of white birds glides low across the river. Their reflections travel briefly upon the water before breaking apart among the ripples. Several children notice them and point excitedly. The adults smile. The birds continue on their journey. The children return to their games. The morning feels peaceful. The kind of peacefulness that develops naturally when people know their work well. No one appears rushed. No one seems worried. There are always tasks to complete. But there is time. The Nile itself teaches this lesson. The river reaches the sea not through speed but through steady movement. The workers understand that. A bundle of garments arrives from a nearby household. A young servant delivers it. The bundle is tied neatly with a length of linen cord. The servant places it beside several others awaiting attention. After offering polite greetings, he begins the walk back toward the village. His duties continue elsewhere. Everyone has responsibilities. Everyone contributes in some way. The village depends upon many hands. As the morning advances, the riverbank becomes warmer. The cool freshness of dawn now feels distant. The workers can sense the coming heat. The sunlight grows brighter. The air grows heavier. Yet the Nile offers relief. Whenever hands enter the water, they encounter coolness. Whenever a breeze drifts across the surface, it carries freshness with it. The river softens the harshness of the climate. It always has. That is one reason so many settlements thrive beside its banks. An older worker named Minette sits briefly beneath a small patch of shade. She has spent decades washing linen. Her hands have touched thousands upon thousands of garments. Her life has followed the rhythm of the river. As she rests, she watches younger workers moving nearby. She remembers when she first began. She remembers carrying bundles that felt far too heavy. She remembers making mistakes. Folding garments improperly. Missing small stains. Needing constant guidance. Now she offers that guidance herself. The years have passed quietly. One season after another. One flood after another. One sunrise after another. Time moves like the Nile. Steady. Continuous. Never stopping. A young apprentice approaches her with a question about a delicate garment. Minette examines the cloth carefully. She explains what should be done. The apprentice listens attentively. Then returns to work. Such exchanges happen every day. Knowledge passes from person to person almost unnoticed. Yet without them, important skills would vanish. The riverbank serves not only as a workplace but as a place of learning. Around midday, the light becomes almost dazzling. The white linen reflects the sun strongly. Some workers narrow their eyes. Others shift slightly to avoid the brightest glare. The heat now settles firmly across the valley. The air seems to shimmer above distant ground. Fields across the river appear softened by the warmth. Even the birds move more slowly. Many seek shelter among reeds and trees. The workers continue. Their pace remains steady. Years of experience have taught them how to manage the heat. They conserve energy. They take brief pauses when necessary. They drink water regularly. Most importantly, they avoid unnecessary effort. Every movement serves a purpose. Every action is measured. Nearby, a woman lowers a clay cup into a water jar. She takes a slow drink. The cool water feels refreshing. Several others do the same. These simple moments matter. The body depends upon them. The day is long. Strength must be preserved. Across the river, farmers continue their own work. Small figures move among fields. From this distance they appear almost silent. The entire valley seems connected through labor. Different tasks. Different tools. Different challenges. Yet all part of the same living landscape. The Nile supports them all. The workers beside the river understand this deeply. Many have relatives who farm. Others have family members who fish or build or trade goods. The boundaries between occupations are often smaller than they appear. Communities are woven together like threads in linen cloth. Each thread supports the others. Without one, the whole becomes weaker. The sunlight continues pouring across the riverbank. Rows of garments dry quickly now. The heat that challenges the workers also helps complete their task. One by one, pieces of linen become ready for folding. The stacks begin growing again. Carefully arranged. Neatly organized. Evidence of steady progress. A young woman lifts a finished garment and smiles quietly. The linen looks fresh and clean. Simple satisfaction settles across her face. Moments like this are small. Easy to overlook. Yet they bring meaning to daily work. The task may not be celebrated publicly. Songs may not be written about it. Monuments may never mention it. Still, the work matters. Clean clothing improves daily life. It brings comfort. It brings dignity. It helps households function smoothly. The workers know this. That knowledge is enough. The breeze returns briefly. It moves through the drying cloth. Rows of linen ripple softly. The motion resembles waves moving across a pale sea. For a few moments, everyone notices. Then the breeze passes. The cloth becomes still once more. The river continues flowing beside them. Always moving. Always changing. Yet somehow always the same. As midday slowly approaches, the sounds of activity begin softening again. Workers prepare for a brief period of rest. The hottest hours are near. Shaded areas become increasingly attractive. Food wrapped in cloth waits inside baskets. Conversations will soon drift beneath trees. For now, however, the work continues a little longer. Hands remain busy. Water continues splashing softly against stone. The Nile glimmers beneath the powerful sun. And another peaceful morning in ancient Egypt gently carries itself toward the quiet warmth of afternoon. The sun climbs toward the center of the sky. Its light falls almost straight down upon the Nile Valley now, bright and steady. The shadows beneath baskets, trees, and workers grow smaller. The heat becomes more noticeable with each passing moment. Along the riverbank, the pace of work gradually softens. No one stops completely. There are still garments to rinse. Still cloth to fold. Still baskets to organize. Yet the workers understand the rhythm of the day. The hottest hours require patience. They require care. Even the river seems calmer beneath the midday sun. Its surface shines brightly. Silver and gold flashes appear wherever sunlight touches the water. Looking directly at it for too long can make the eyes narrow. Many workers glance only briefly before returning to their tasks. The smell of warm earth drifts through the air. It mixes with the scent of river water and drying linen. Nearby, reeds sway gently whenever a breeze arrives. The breeze is welcome. Every small movement of cooler air brings relief. Tia finishes folding another group of garments and places them neatly into a basket. The stack sits perfectly organized. Large pieces below. Smaller pieces above. Years of practice have made the arrangement almost automatic. She barely needs to think about it anymore. Her hands know what to do. Many of the older workers possess the same quiet confidence. Their experience appears in small details. The way they carry heavy loads. The way they inspect cloth. The way they recognize stains that younger workers might miss. Knowledge accumulates slowly across a lifetime. One season at a time. One task at a time. One ordinary day at a time. A short distance away, a young apprentice struggles with a particularly large linen sheet. The fabric catches a breeze and twists awkwardly. Several nearby workers laugh softly. Not in a cruel way. Only with gentle amusement. The apprentice laughs too. Then an older woman steps forward and helps guide the corners into place. Together they fold the cloth neatly. The task becomes much easier. Small moments of cooperation happen constantly beside the Nile. They rarely attract attention. Yet they help make difficult work manageable. As midday arrives, many workers begin gathering beneath whatever shade they can find. A cluster of palm trees stands near the riverbank. Their shadows stretch only a short distance, but it is enough. Several women sit together beneath them. Clay jars are placed nearby. Simple meals are unpacked. Bread wrapped in cloth. Dates stored in woven containers. Pieces of fish prepared earlier. Nothing elaborate. Nothing rare. Just familiar food that provides strength for the remainder of the day. The workers settle onto the ground. The shade feels pleasant. The difference between sunlight and shadow is remarkable. A few moments ago the heat seemed almost heavy. Here, beneath the trees, the air feels gentler. A breeze moves through the palm leaves overhead. The sound creates a soft rustling pattern. Again and again. Again and again. It blends naturally with the distant sounds of the river. For a while, no one speaks very much. People eat slowly. They rest. They enjoy the opportunity to relax tired muscles. A woman stretches her shoulders. Another removes her sandals briefly and massages her feet. A younger worker leans back against a tree trunk and closes her eyes. Not sleeping. Simply resting. Listening. Breathing. Allowing the day to pause for a little while. Beyond the shade, the village continues its daily routines. Farmers work in distant fields. Merchants move through market areas. Builders continue construction projects. Potters shape clay. Life does not stop because of the heat. It simply adjusts. The people of Egypt have learned this over countless generations. Nature sets the rhythm. People follow it. Tia takes a sip of water from a clay cup. The coolness feels refreshing. She looks out across the river. The opposite shore appears almost dreamlike beneath the bright sunlight. Palm trees stand motionless. Fields shimmer in the distance. A small boat moves slowly through the water. Its reflection follows beneath it. Everything feels peaceful. For a few moments, she simply watches. The river has a way of inviting quiet observation. Many workers feel it. The flowing water encourages stillness. Encourages patience. Encourages thought. Nearby, conversations begin drifting through the shade. One woman speaks about her daughter learning to weave. Another mentions repairs needed on a storage room roof. Someone describes a recent journey to a neighboring village. The stories move from person to person naturally. Some are practical. Some are humorous. Some are simply observations about everyday life. Together they create a picture of the community. A picture built from ordinary experiences rather than grand events. These are the stories that rarely survive in written records. Yet they filled countless afternoons beside the Nile. The workers share them because people have always shared stories. It helps pass the time. It strengthens friendships. It connects generations. A grandmother describes how the river looked during a flood many years earlier. A younger worker listens carefully. She has heard the story before. Perhaps several times. Yet she listens again. Some stories become part of a community's memory. They are repeated because they matter. Because they remind people where they come from. Because they remind them how the river shapes their lives. The midday break continues. The atmosphere remains calm. No one appears eager to rush back into the sun. Yet everyone knows the rest cannot last forever. The day still contains work. The baskets still contain garments. The riverbank still waits. Gradually, people begin preparing to return. A few workers stand and stretch. Others gather empty food wrappings. Clay cups are returned to baskets. Conversations fade naturally. The pause comes to an end. One by one, the workers leave the shade. The sunlight greets them immediately. Bright. Warm. Powerful. Yet the break has helped. Their energy feels renewed. Their movements become steady once more. The afternoon work begins. Fresh garments are brought toward the water. Dry pieces are folded and sorted. The familiar rhythm returns. The river continues flowing beside them. Unchanged. Constant. Its waters have witnessed countless days exactly like this. Countless groups of workers resting beneath trees. Countless conversations carried away by the breeze. Countless meals shared among friends and family. Generations have come and gone. Yet the river remains. A silent companion to ordinary lives. As the afternoon slowly unfolds, the heat begins its long journey toward evening. The brightest part of the day will not last forever. The workers know this. For now, they continue their tasks with patient determination. The sound of splashing water returns. The sound of folding linen returns. The sound of quiet conversation returns. And beneath the endless Egyptian sky, another peaceful afternoon begins beside the timeless waters of the Nile. The afternoon settles gently over the Nile Valley. The brief period of rest has passed, and the workers have returned to their places along the riverbank. The sun still shines brightly overhead, but its journey toward the west has already begun. Though the change is small, experienced eyes can sense it. The day is moving forward. The river flows beside them as it always does. Steady. Patient. Endless. Tia kneels once more near the water's edge. A fresh bundle of linen waits beside her. She unties the cord and carefully separates the garments. Some pieces are simple work clothes worn by farmers. Others belong to craftsmen whose days are spent shaping wood, stone, or clay. Each garment tells a quiet story. A patch sewn over an old tear. A faded area where sunlight has touched the fabric many times. A stain left behind by a day's labor. The workers notice these details. Over years of washing clothing, they learn much about the lives around them. Not through conversations. Not through records. But through the garments themselves. A farmer's linen often carries traces of field dust. A fisherman's clothing may smell faintly of river water and nets. A baker's garments sometimes reveal fine traces of flour. Each piece arrives carrying small signs of daily life. And each piece leaves clean once more. Nearby, a woman spreads newly washed cloth across a flat section of ground. The fabric catches the sunlight immediately. Warm air begins drawing away the remaining moisture. The process feels almost effortless now. The river provides water. The sun provides heat. The breeze provides movement. Nature assists the workers in their task. For thousands of years, people along the Nile have relied upon these same elements. The afternoon breeze strengthens slightly. Rows of drying linen flutter softly. The movement creates gentle waves of white across the riverbank. For a moment, the cloth resembles sails upon distant boats. Then the breeze passes, and stillness returns. Several children wander near the shoreline. They have finished helping with small errands and now enjoy a little freedom. One child crouches near the water and watches tiny fish dart between reeds. Another gathers smooth stones and arranges them in careful patterns upon the ground. Nearby adults occasionally glance in their direction. The children remain close enough to be safe. Far enough away to entertain themselves. Their laughter rises briefly above the sounds of work. Then fades again. The afternoon continues. A fisherman returning from an early journey pauses beside the workers. His basket contains a modest catch. Enough for several meals. Enough to make the morning worthwhile. He exchanges greetings with familiar faces. News travels quickly in places like this. People ask about river conditions. About relatives. About nearby villages. Conversations flow naturally. Then the fisherman continues toward the market. His sandals leave temporary marks along the path. Soon wind and footsteps will erase them. The riverbank remains busy but calm. There is no sense of urgency. No rush. The workers understand that steady effort often accomplishes more than hurried movement. The Nile itself demonstrates this truth every day. It does not race toward its destination. It simply continues. Hour after hour. Season after season. Century after century. An older worker named Nefru sits briefly while folding a large sheet of linen. Her hands move with remarkable precision. The corners align perfectly. The folds remain smooth. Years of experience guide every motion. Younger workers often watch her. Not because she speaks often, but because her actions teach lessons words cannot. The best way to learn many tasks is simply to observe someone who knows them well. Nefru learned this way. The workers before her learned this way. And future generations will learn the same way. Knowledge travels quietly through time. Like water moving through the Nile. The sun begins lowering little by little. The fierce brightness of midday softens almost imperceptibly. The workers notice the change before anyone else. They spend so much time outdoors that they understand every stage of the day's light. The afternoon now feels more forgiving. The heat remains present, but its sharpest edge has begun to fade. A few birds emerge from shaded areas where they spent the hottest hours. Their calls drift across the river. Some land among the reeds. Others skim low over the water before disappearing downstream. The natural world becomes more active again. The valley seems to take a slow breath. Tia stands and stretches her back. The movement feels good. Hours spent kneeling can leave muscles stiff. Around her, other workers perform similar movements. A shoulder is rolled. An arm is stretched. A neck is tilted gently from side to side. Then the work resumes. Such small pauses help carry them through long afternoons. Across the river, distant fields glow beneath the sunlight. Farmers continue their tasks. Tiny figures move among the crops. From this distance, they appear almost motionless. The scene feels timeless. As though it could belong to any century. The same river. The same fields. The same sunlight. The same rhythm of work and rest. The workers beside the Nile are part of something larger than themselves. A pattern repeated countless times across generations. A pattern woven into the life of Egypt itself. The afternoon advances. More garments become dry. More baskets become full. The results of the day's effort grow increasingly visible. Stacks of folded linen rise steadily. Each pile represents hours of labor. Hours of lifting. Washing. Rinsing. Drying. Sorting. The work may seem simple. Yet it requires attention and endurance. Without it, daily life would become much more difficult. A gentle conversation drifts between two women working nearby. They discuss preparations for an upcoming family gathering. One worries there may not be enough bread. The other suggests asking a relative for assistance. The problem will likely be solved. Most problems are. Communities survive by helping one another. The conversation soon shifts to other topics. The river listens quietly. The Nile has heard countless conversations throughout history. Discussions of harvests, births, marriages, repairs, weather, food, work. The subjects change. Human concerns remain surprisingly familiar. A boat glides silently through the water. Its reflection moves beside it. The oars dip gently into the river. Ripples spread outward. Then slowly disappear. Everything about the scene feels unhurried. The boat. The workers. The birds. Even the river itself. The entire landscape seems to move according to a calm and ancient rhythm. As the afternoon slowly begins leaning toward evening, long shadows start returning to the ground. They are still faint. Still short. Yet they are growing. The workers notice. The day is changing once again. Soon the light will become golden. Soon the breeze will cool. Soon baskets will be prepared for the journey back to the village. But for now, the work continues. The sound of water against stone. The rustle of linen in the breeze. The quiet voices of workers sharing another ordinary day. And beneath the warm Egyptian sun, beside the endless flow of the Nile, the peaceful routine carries onward just as it has for generations beyond memory. The afternoon moves forward with the same gentle rhythm that has carried the day since sunrise. The sun no longer stands directly overhead. It has begun its slow descent toward the western horizon. The change is subtle. The heat still lingers across the Nile Valley. The air remains warm. Yet something in the light feels softer now. The brightest hours have passed. The workers sense it without needing to look at the sky. Years spent beside the river have taught them how to read the day through small changes. The angle of a shadow. The direction of a breeze. The color of the water. The feeling of sunlight upon their skin. These things reveal the passing hours as clearly as any clock. Along the riverbank, baskets continue filling with folded linen. The piles have grown steadily throughout the day. Some baskets are already nearly full. Others still have space waiting for garments that are drying nearby. Tia finishes folding a long linen robe. She smooths the final crease with her hand and places it carefully upon a stack. The fabric feels warm from the sunlight. For a moment she enjoys the sensation. Then she reaches for another garment. The work continues. Nearby, several workers gather freshly dried cloth from a line stretched between wooden posts. The breeze has done its work well. The linen is completely dry. Each piece is removed carefully. Dust must be avoided. Clean fabric deserves clean handling. The workers move with practiced precision. Their motions are neither hurried nor slow. Simply steady. Steady like the river itself. A group of fishermen passes along the shoreline carrying nets. The day's fishing is finished. Tomorrow will bring another journey onto the water. For now, they are returning home. The nets hang heavily across their shoulders. Their sandals stir small clouds of dust with each step. One fisherman pauses briefly to exchange greetings with the workers. He asks whether the day has been busy. A woman laughs softly and gestures toward the many baskets. The answer is obvious. The fisherman smiles. Then continues on his way. Simple encounters like this happen often. The riverbank connects many parts of village life. People cross paths here. News travels here. Friendships grow here. The Nile serves not only as a source of water but as a meeting place. A place where lives quietly overlap. Far across the river, the fields glow beneath the afternoon sun. Farmers continue their work among rows of crops. The distance softens every detail. The workers appear as tiny figures moving slowly through gold and green. Palm trees stand watch over the landscape. Their shadows lengthen gradually. The scene feels peaceful. Almost dreamlike. A woman sitting beside a basket pauses to watch it. She remembers helping her father in the fields when she was a child. Those days feel distant now. Many years have passed. Yet certain memories remain clear. The smell of wet soil after flood waters receded. The sight of birds gathering near newly planted fields. The sound of the Nile at night. Some memories fade. Others stay forever. The river often brings them back. A young apprentice nearby listens quietly as older workers share stories. The stories are simple. Nothing dramatic. Nothing extraordinary. One woman remembers a particularly windy season. Another recalls a wedding celebration many years ago. Someone else describes a boat journey taken during childhood. The apprentice enjoys hearing them. Every community carries its history in stories like these. Stories passed from one person to another. Stories repeated beside cooking fires. Stories shared while working. Stories carried through generations. The Nile has heard them all. The afternoon breeze returns. It is stronger than before. Not strong enough to disturb the workers. Just strong enough to bring comfort. The reeds sway. The surface of the river ripples gently. Rows of linen flutter softly. The sound resembles a quiet whisper. For a few moments, conversation fades. People simply enjoy the cooler air. After hours beneath the sun, even a small breeze feels like a gift. A bird lands near the shoreline. It stands motionless beside the water. Patient. watching, perhaps waiting for a fish. The workers notice it occasionally, then return their attention to their tasks. The bird remains still and calm, as though it belongs perfectly to the peaceful atmosphere of the afternoon. A clay jar of drinking water passes between several workers. Each person takes a careful drink before handing it to the next. The water remains pleasantly cool. The thick clay helps protect it from the heat. Simple technology. Simple wisdom. Generations have relied upon such methods. Not everything needs complexity. Sometimes simple solutions serve people best. The workers understand this well. Their lives are filled with practical knowledge gathered over centuries. Knowledge shaped by observation, by necessity, by experience. The sun lowers a little more. The color of the light begins changing, almost imperceptibly at first. The brilliant white tones of midday slowly soften toward gold. The river reflects the transformation. Its surface appears warmer now, richer, more inviting. The coming evening announces itself gently. No sudden change occurs. Only a gradual shift. A slow movement from one part of the day into another. Tia stands and carries a basket toward a shaded area. The basket feels heavy. The weight presses against her arms. Yet it is a satisfying weight. A reminder of work accomplished. She sets it down beside several others. Together they form neat rows. The sight brings quiet satisfaction. The day's efforts are becoming visible. The work is taking shape. Nearby, a child arrives carrying a small bundle wrapped in cloth. Inside are pieces of bread prepared earlier in the day. The workers smile warmly. A few thank the child. The bread will provide energy for the remaining hours. The child seems pleased by the attention, then runs off toward another part of the village. Dust rises briefly behind him, then settles again. Everything returns to calm. The sounds of the river continue. The sounds of folding linen continue. The sounds of distant birds continue. Together they create the familiar soundtrack of life beside the Nile. Not loud. Not dramatic. Simply constant. Simply comforting. A boat appears downstream. Its sail catches the afternoon breeze. Slowly it moves along the river. The workers watch it for a moment. Travel by water is often easier than travel by land. The Nile connects distant communities. It carries people, goods, stories, and news. Somewhere aboard that boat, someone may be returning home after a long journey. Someone may be visiting family. Someone may be bringing goods to market. The workers wonder briefly, then return to their tasks. The boat continues onward, gradually becoming smaller against the river's wide expanse. The shadows grow longer now. The change can no longer be ignored. The afternoon is beginning to lean toward evening. The heat softens. The breeze cools. The golden light spreads farther across the valley. Soon workers will begin preparing for the journey home. Soon cooking fires will appear in the village. Soon families will gather together. But for now, the riverbank remains busy with one final stretch of work. The Nile flows quietly beside them. The sunlight glows warmly upon the water. And another peaceful day in ancient Egypt continues unfolding with calm patience beside the timeless river. The golden hour slowly settles across the Nile Valley. The change feels gentle and welcome. After the long brightness of midday and the steady warmth of afternoon, the sunlight now softens into rich shades of gold and amber. The river reflects these colors beautifully. Every ripple seems touched by light. The workers notice the transformation immediately. This is one of their favorite times of day. The heat eases. The breeze becomes cooler. The shadows stretch across the ground like long dark ribbons. Even the birds seem more active again. The valley feels as though it is slowly exhaling after many hours beneath the sun. Along the riverbank, the day's work continues. Yet there is a different feeling now. The urgency of the morning has faded. The endurance required by midday has passed. What remains is the calm satisfaction of finishing. Tia carries another stack of folded linen toward a growing row of baskets. The cloth smells fresh, clean, sun-warmed. She places the stack carefully inside. The basket is nearly full now. Many hours of labor rest within it. Hours that can be measured not by words but by effort. By wet hands. By tired shoulders. By countless trips between water and shore. Nearby, several women gather the last garments from drying lines stretched beside the river. The linen catches the evening breeze. For a moment the cloth billows gently like sails on a riverboat. Then the garments settle again. The workers fold them carefully. Corners aligned. Edges smoothed. Each piece prepared for its return home. The riverbank has changed throughout the day. In the morning it was filled with baskets waiting to be emptied. Now it is filled with baskets ready to leave. The transformation is subtle but meaningful. It represents work completed. A task fulfilled. The visible result of patience and persistence. A flock of birds crosses the sky overhead. Their dark shapes pass through the golden light. The workers watch them briefly. The birds move toward distant marshes where they will spend the night. Many creatures follow routines just as people do. The fishermen know where fish gather. The birds know where reeds provide shelter. The workers know where sunlight dries cloth most effectively. Life along the Nile depends upon understanding rhythms. Understanding patterns. Understanding the natural flow of things. An older worker named Manette pauses near the water. She bends slightly and rinses her hands. Cool river water slips between her fingers. The sensation feels pleasant after a long day. She watches the current for a moment. The water never stops moving. Even now, while the village prepares for evening, the river continues its endless journey. It has flowed through the lives of her parents. And their parents. And generations beyond memory. One day it will flow through the lives of people not yet born. The thought feels comforting somehow. The river remains. People come and go. The Nile endures. Nearby, a young apprentice struggles to lift a basket filled with folded linen. The basket is heavier than she expected. Two workers step forward immediately. Together they raise it. The apprentice laughs softly. The others laugh with her. No one minds helping. Everyone remembers being young. Everyone remembers learning. Such moments strengthen the community. The work may be individual at times. Yet success often depends upon cooperation. As the afternoon drifts closer to evening, more workers begin organizing deliveries. Certain baskets belong to specific households. Others must be carried to larger compounds where servants will distribute the garments. Attention is important. Mistakes create confusion. The workers know many families personally. They recognize names. They recognize garments. They recognize familiar patterns woven into the cloth. Years of experience make the task easier. A breeze moves across the river. This one feels cooler than those that came earlier. The workers notice. The day is changing. The approach of evening can be felt in the air itself. The heat no longer presses heavily against the skin. Instead, comfort slowly returns. Farther down the riverbank, fishermen prepare their boats for tomorrow. Nets are inspected. Ropes are checked. Small repairs are made where necessary. The workers washing linen glance toward them occasionally. Everyone is preparing for the next day. Tomorrow's labor begins long before tomorrow arrives. The same is true throughout the village. Farmers sharpen tools. Potters organize clay. Bakers prepare grain. Life is built upon preparation. The evening light grows richer. The entire landscape appears painted in gold. Palm trees cast long shadows across the earth. The river glows like polished metal. Even simple mud-brick homes seem beautiful beneath this light. A child runs along the shoreline carrying a small reed toy. His shadow stretches far behind him. For a few moments he chases it. Then he notices something else and runs off in another direction. The workers smile as they watch. Children find wonder everywhere. Perhaps that is one reason people enjoy watching them. They remind adults to notice simple things. The shape of a shadow. The flight of a bird. The sparkle of sunlight on water. Nearby, Tia finishes organizing her final basket. She wipes her hands against her garment and stands quietly. For the first time all day, she has no immediate task waiting. The feeling is pleasant. Not because she dislikes work. Quite the opposite. The satisfaction comes from knowing the work has been completed well. The baskets are ready. The garments are clean. The day has been productive. She looks across the river. The opposite shore glows beneath the lowering sun. Fields stretch into the distance. A few farmers are beginning their journey home. Small figures move along narrow paths. From this distance they appear almost timeless. The same could have been seen yesterday. Or last year. Or many generations ago. The rhythm continues. The river continues. The evening deepens. One by one, workers begin lifting baskets. Some place them upon their shoulders. Others balance them carefully atop their heads. The loads are heavy. Yet the workers carry them with practiced ease. The path home awaits. The village awaits. Warm meals await. Families await. The shoreline slowly empties. The crowds that filled the riverbank throughout the day begin thinning. Open spaces appear where workers stood only moments earlier. The sounds change as well. The splashing of water grows less frequent. The rustling of linen becomes quieter. Conversation drifts farther apart. The day's work is winding down. Still, the Nile remains. Flowing beside them. Watching silently. Accompanying every departure. Accompanying every return. As Tia begins walking toward the village, she glances back once more. The river shines beneath the golden sky. The reeds sway gently in the evening breeze. A boat moves slowly through the distance. Everything feels peaceful. The scene settles into her memory without effort. Tomorrow morning she will return. Tomorrow morning many others will return as well. The river will still be here. The reeds will still whisper in the breeze. The sunlight will once again spread across the water. And the peaceful routine of washing clothes by the Nile will begin anew, just as it has for countless generations carried gently along the timeless flow of Egypt's great river. The path leading away from the river glows softly beneath the evening light. The workers move along it in small groups, carrying baskets filled with clean linen. Their shadows stretch across the dusty ground. The golden sunlight rests upon their shoulders and follows them toward the village. Behind them, the Nile continues flowing. The river never seems concerned with endings or beginnings. It simply moves forward. Day after day. Season after season. The workers have spent their lives beside it. Its presence feels as natural as the air they breathe. Tia walks beside Minette and several others. The basket balanced upon her shoulder feels heavy, but not unpleasantly so. It is the weight of a task completed. The weight of effort transformed into something useful. The women talk quietly as they walk. No one raises their voice. The calm of the river seems to linger with them. Their conversation drifts between simple topics. A roof that needs repair before the next flood season. A neighbor recovering from illness. A cousin preparing for marriage. The condition of crops growing in nearby fields. Small concerns. Small hopes. The ordinary threads that weave together daily life. Ahead, the village slowly comes into view. Mud-brick homes glow warmly beneath the setting sun. Palm trees stand dark against the bright sky. Thin streams of smoke rise from cooking fires. The scent reaches the workers before they arrive. Fresh bread. Roasting fish. Vegetables simmering in clay pots. The smells create a quiet feeling of comfort. Home is near. The busiest part of the day is finished. Children play near the entrance to the village. Some chase one another through open spaces between homes. Others sit together drawing patterns in the dust with small sticks. Their laughter drifts through the air. The workers smile as they pass. Many recognize the children. Many have watched them grow from infants into curious young people. Life unfolds gradually in villages like this. Everyone knows one another. Everyone notices the passing years. A young boy runs toward Tia. He offers to help carry part of the load. The basket is far too heavy for him, but his willingness makes her smile. She thanks him and allows him to carry a much smaller bundle instead. The boy beams with pride. Together they continue toward the center of the village. The sun lowers further. The sky changes once again. Gold deepens into orange. Orange begins mixing with shades of red and rose. The entire Nile Valley seems wrapped in warm color. The river reflects the transformation beautifully. For a brief time each evening, everything appears softer. Gentler. Almost dreamlike. The workers reach the first households awaiting deliveries. One basket is lowered. Several folded garments are removed carefully. A woman standing in the doorway thanks them warmly. The linen is examined. The folds are neat. The fabric is clean. Everything is as it should be. The garments disappear inside the home. The workers continue onward. House after house. Doorway after doorway. The deliveries progress steadily. Some homes are small. Others are larger. Some belong to farmers. Others belong to merchants or craftsmen. The workers know them all. Years of delivering linen have made the village feel familiar in every detail. They know which door creaks when opened. Which courtyard receives the most sunlight. Which families keep goats. Which homes always smell of baking bread. Such knowledge comes naturally over time. No one sets out to memorize it. The details simply become part of daily life. As twilight approaches, more lamps begin appearing. Small flames flicker inside windows and doorways. The light is soft. Golden. Peaceful. The village slowly prepares for night. A donkey passes along a narrow street carrying empty baskets. Its pace is slow. Unhurried. A man walking beside it gently guides the animal toward a storage building. The sounds of evening continue all around. Quiet conversations. Footsteps on packed earth. The occasional bark of a dog. The soft clatter of pottery being arranged for supper. Nothing loud. Nothing urgent. Just the sounds of a community settling into the evening. Tia delivers another bundle. Then another. With each stop, her basket becomes lighter. The physical burden eases. The satisfaction remains. There is something deeply comforting about completing a task from beginning to end. The workers collected the garments. They washed them. They dried them. They folded them. And now they return them. The cycle feels complete. Nearby, an elderly man sits outside his home beneath the evening sky. He watches the workers pass. Perhaps he once performed demanding labor himself. Perhaps he spent years in the fields or on the river. Now he enjoys quieter days. He nods politely as they pass. The workers nod in return. No words are necessary. Respect often travels in silence. The last light of the sun begins fading from the western horizon. The sky grows deeper. The first stars appear overhead. Tiny points of silver emerging one by one. Many villagers glance upward as they move through their evening routines. The stars feel familiar. Reliable. They have guided travelers, fishermen, and farmers for generations. Above the Nile Valley, they return each night with quiet certainty. The final deliveries continue. One household receives a carefully folded linen robe. Another receives several simple work garments. A larger home receives multiple baskets filled with cloth belonging to many family members and servants. The workers move steadily. The village grows darker around them. Lamps glow more brightly now. Shadows stretch across courtyards and narrow streets. The heat of the day continues fading. Cooler air begins moving through the settlement. Palm leaves rustle softly overhead. The sound reminds Tia of the reeds beside the river. Even here, away from the water, the Nile seems present. Its influence reaches every part of life. The food people eat. The fields they cultivate. The cloth they wear. The schedules they follow. Everything is connected to the river. Eventually, only a few deliveries remain. The baskets that once felt heavy now weigh very little. Most of the linen has returned to its owners. The day's work is nearly complete. Tia and the others move through the village at a relaxed pace. There is no hurry now. Night has arrived. The stars shine more brightly with every passing moment. Above them stretches an immense sky. Below it rests a peaceful village. The workers finish another delivery. Then another. At last, only empty baskets remain. The sight brings quiet satisfaction. A full day has come to its natural conclusion. Not with celebration. Not with applause. Simply with the calm knowledge that everything that needed to be done has been done. The workers begin making their way toward their own homes. Cooking fires glow warmly in the darkness. Families gather for evening meals. Children grow sleepy after long days of play. Voices soften. Movements slow. The village prepares for rest. And beyond the homes, beyond the fields, beyond the palm trees and winding paths, the Nile continues flowing beneath the rising stars, carrying the gentle rhythm of ancient Egyptian life into another peaceful night. Night settles comfortably over the village. The final traces of daylight have disappeared from the western sky. Above the Nile Valley, countless stars shine with quiet brilliance. The moon has begun its slow climb above the horizon, casting a pale silver glow across rooftops, fields, and the broad waters of the river. The village moves at a different pace now. The urgency of work has faded. The demands of the day have softened. People gather with family members. Meals are shared. Stories are exchanged. The atmosphere feels calm and reassuring. Inside her home, Tia places the now empty basket against a wall. The basket looks different without the day's linen inside it. Lighter. Simpler. Its emptiness is not disappointing. It is a sign that the work has been completed. Tomorrow it will be filled again. Tomorrow another cycle will begin. For now, it can rest. Just as she can. A clay lamp burns nearby. Its small flame flickers gently. Light dances across the mud brick walls. Soft shadows shift slowly across the room. The smell of fresh bread still lingers in the air. A simple evening meal has already been eaten. The hunger created by a long day of labor has been satisfied. Now comes the quieter part of the evening. The part many workers enjoy most. The hours when no task demands immediate attention. Outside, voices drift through the village. Not loud voices. Not crowded conversations. Just the gentle sounds of neighbors speaking with neighbors. Families sitting together beneath the stars. Children asking questions before sleep. Friends discussing the events of the day. The sounds blend together softly. Like distant water moving over smooth stones. Tia steps outside for a moment. The night air feels pleasant against her skin. Cooler than the afternoon. Cooler than the morning. A breeze moves through the palm trees. The leaves rustle overhead. The sound carries memories of the riverbank. The reeds along the Nile make a similar sound when the wind passes through them. The entire valley seems connected by familiar rhythms. The same breeze touches the village. The same breeze touches the river. The same breeze moves across distant fields where farmers worked only hours earlier. Nearby, an elderly woman sits upon a low stool outside her home. Several children gather around her. They listen quietly as she tells a story. The children have likely heard some version of it before. Perhaps many times. Yet they listen carefully. Stories become part of family life. Part of community memory. Some stories are about ancestors. Others are about journeys. Some describe floods that happened long ago. Others speak of unusual events witnessed beside the river. The details may change slightly over time. The feeling remains the same. Stories help people remember. Stories help people belong. Across the village, many similar scenes unfold. People sitting together. Talking quietly. Enjoying the coolness of evening. For workers who spend long hours beneath the sun, these moments feel precious. The body begins recovering. Muscles relax. The mind grows peaceful. A fisherman sits repairing a small section of net beneath lamplight. His fingers move slowly and carefully. The work is not difficult. Yet it requires attention. Tomorrow's success may depend upon these repairs. Nearby, his family sits together sharing conversation. The fisherman listens while he works. Occasionally he smiles. Occasionally he adds a comment. The atmosphere remains warm and comfortable. Elsewhere, a baker prepares grain for the next morning. A potter examines pieces drying in the darkness. A farmer checks a tool before placing it aside for the night. Even during evening hours, small tasks continue. Life flows naturally from one activity to another. No sharp line separates work from rest. The two often exist side by side. Beyond the village, the Nile glimmers beneath the moonlight. The river appears almost silver now. Its surface reflects the stars. Tiny ripples catch the light and carry it downstream. The scene feels timeless. Perhaps a fisherman standing here 1,000 years earlier would have seen nearly the same thing. The same river, the same moon, the same stars, the same gentle movement of water. The Nile changes slowly. Its rhythms unfold across generations. That constancy provides comfort. People trust what is familiar. The river has earned that trust. Back inside her home, Tia settles onto a woven mat. The clay lamp burns lower. Its flame has grown smaller. Soon it will be extinguished. The room feels peaceful. Family members speak softly nearby. Their voices gradually become quieter. The day has been long. Everyone feels the weight of pleasant exhaustion. Not the exhaustion of worry. Not the exhaustion of fear. Simply the natural tiredness that follows honest labor. Outside, the village grows quieter. Children begin falling asleep. Conversations become less frequent. Doors close gently. Lamps disappear one by one. The darkness deepens. Only moonlight remains. A dog barks somewhere in the distance. The sound echoes briefly, then fades. Silence returns. The silence is never complete. The Nile remains. The breeze remains. The insects remain. Yet the overall feeling is one of calm. A peaceful stillness settles across the landscape. Hours pass slowly. The moon rises higher. Its light reaches rooftops, pathways, and courtyards. Palm trees cast long silver shadows. The village rests beneath them. Most people are asleep now. Their breathing slow. Their minds drifting through dreams. Tomorrow's work can wait until dawn. The fields will still be there. The fishing boats will still be there. The baskets of linen will still be there. The Nile will still be there. Nothing requires attention tonight. Nothing needs to be hurried. Far from the village center, a lone figure walks quietly along the riverbank. Perhaps a fisherman checking a boat. Perhaps a guard making rounds. His footsteps are soft against the earth. The river accompanies him. The moonlight guides him. The stars watch from above. Soon he too will rest. The night continues deepening. The air grows cooler. The valley becomes increasingly still. The sounds of the day have faded completely now. No washing of linen. No conversations beside the river. No footsteps carrying baskets. Only the quiet breathing of a sleeping world. And beneath the endless stars of ancient Egypt, while the Nile continues its patient journey through darkness, the village rests peacefully, gathering strength for another day that will begin once more with the soft light of dawn beside the timeless river. The night has become very still. Above the Nile Valley, the stars shine quietly in the vast darkness. The moon hangs low over the river, painting a silver path across the water. The reeds sway softly along the shoreline. Palm leaves whisper in the cool night breeze. The village sleeps. Inside mud-brick homes, lamps have long since gone dark. Baskets rest against walls. Sandals wait beside doorways. The tools of daily labor have been set aside until morning. The fishermen sleep. The farmers sleep. The bakers sleep. The builders sleep. And the workers who spent their days washing clothes beside the Nile now rest peacefully beneath linen coverings, their long hours of labor finally complete. Their hands are still. Their shoulders are relaxed. Their breathing is slow and steady. The work that filled the day has gently faded into memory. Tomorrow will bring another sunrise. Another walk to the river. Another quiet exchange of greetings. Another day of washing, rinsing, folding, and carrying. but tomorrow is still far away. For now, there is only night. Only rest. Only the soft and endless movement of the Nile. The great river continues its ancient journey through the darkness. It passes sleeping villages, silent fields, quiet boats tied along the shore, moonlit reeds, and distant stretches of water untouched by any sound except the gentle current. The river asks nothing. It hurries nowhere. It simply flows. As it has for countless generations. As it will for countless generations more. The stars slowly drift overhead. The breeze grows softer. The sounds of the world become fewer and fewer. A final ripple moves across the moonlit water. A final whisper passes through the reeds. And somewhere beside the timeless Nile, beneath the peaceful sky of ancient Egypt, the night settles fully around the sleeping land. Everything grows quiet. Everything grows calm. The river flows on. The stars shine above. And the ancient world drifts gently into silence.